Since we're playing a tune that was influenced by B.B. King, obviously, I'm going to talk about integrating some of his soloing techniques and some of the things that he tended to do when he soloed. One element of B.B.'s style that is undeniable is the fact that he played very vocally. So he'd be singing a song and then he's just going to continue those lyrics as he solos on guitar. I read a number of interviews with him where he talked about that being something that was an objective as he soloed, basically, to play conversationally. So let's look at some techniques for playing conversationally. Call and response is a big one, where you make a statement and then you reply to that statement, and then you reply maybe one more time to that. And if you do that in about 4-bar statements, and I'm speaking very roughly because blues players don't just exactly play in 4 bars. But, 3 times 4 is 12. That's a 12-bar chorus. So you make a statement in the first 4 bars, you reply to it in the next 4 bars, and then you cap off that idea in the last 4 bars. Now, B.B. King and many of us might start that opening phrase in that first 4 bars. You might start that in front of the bar line. You don't have to compartmentalize your phrases to exactly 4 bars. But call and response, really what it means is you're just playing phrases that connect with each other. And it gives people something to listen to. You're not just playing a cool lick over every isolated different chord changes. You're trying to create a thread that sounds like a conversation. There's a number of ways you can do that. You can take a rhythmic pattern and repeat a motive as you're playing along. You could play... you might come back to that a little bit later. Wherever you want to play it. Now, you might not play it exactly the same way when you do it too. You can change it a little bit, but maybe you're hitting a certain note, like an A. And you're soloing along, coming back to that A in another place. And then maybe later, you can just hit that A. So you can just reference a pitch. It doesn't have to be exactly the same rhythm. So there's a lot of room to do that. Just repeated motifs is one thing. Another thing that's very effective is varying your range. Maybe you start low. Okay? Now, move that phrase. So move that phrase around, play that in different regions of the neck. And I'm just totally improvising with a theme that's similar. I wasn't even exactly trying to play the same notes there. You could set up a conversation like a conversation between 2 people where one person speaks in a low voice, and there's an answer in a higher voice like that. You could actually have a dialogue between, 2 people that are having some kind of a relationship, maybe a little battle at the moment where they're having an altercation or they're having a conversation. So you can vary your range between low and high. And that's always interesting to mix things up a little bit, especially if you're using call and response. Again, it gives the listener something to listen to. You could start simple, really phrases maybe with a lot of sustained notes. And then as the solo progresses, so, faster phrases, you could actually start slow and just pace your solo into more activity as you go. And that's a good way to kind of build. Again, there's a lot of right answers for solos when you're playing. The only answer that I don't think is exactly a right answer would be to play exactly at one level. One of the projects as we work on this tune for this assignment, one of my goals is to have people start a little simple with their phrasing and sparse and develop into a little bit more activity as the solo progresses. I'm going to try to create a conversation here and do some dialogue and play some sustained notes, play some faster things, mix up my conversation a little bit, but still try to use call and response so that the phrases fit together. They may be 4 bars, they may be shorter units that are within that 4 bars. But again, I'm just going to try to create a lyric or conversation through the form over 2 choruses, okay? So let's give that a shot.